fire in the business. It was the second largest fire on the Wirral. And I'd also had my business partner die on the same day.
Hello, I'm your host, Andrew Leong, and welcome to #Ambitious. For anyone who has never tuned in before, #Ambitious is all about business, marketing, and startups. I interview entrepreneurs and professionals about their businesses, their journey, their struggles, and how they're growing their businesses. In this episode, we have Jonathan Quinn, Inventrepreneur, engineer, founder of Quinnovations Group, and a board director of Wirral Chamber of Commerce. Let's jump right in. Jonathan, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Could you introduce yourself and tell us your story, please?
Yeah, so my name's Jonathan Quinn. I've got 5 businesses on the Wirral, over in Liverpool and one over in Dubai. I started me working life as an apprentice pipefitter welder, then went into mechanical engineering, then went into chemical process engineering, and then worked for big engineering houses building chemical plants all over the world, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, over in the States, building bits of kit as well and then shipping them over there. So yeah, quite a varied career. And then I'd set up my own business 12 years ago now. I was doing an engineering project for someone over in Liverpool, my very, very first project, and then they actually went into administration. They got some funding taken off them from the government. So I was like, oh my God, my first business, my first sort of major project. And it was, oh, what am I going to do? So we were sort of hanging around to see what was going to happen. The administrators come in. They got a list of the equipment. There was also a patent for metals recovery. It was about £500,000 worth of equipment. And nobody wanted to come in and buy it. So the administrator said, well, if you can cover our fees, £15,000, then we'll let you have the equipment and the patent. So that's what sort of started the process. So we clubbed together some cash, myself, my dad, another business partner, and we started off our first sort of proper business, which was a metals recovery business. So that recovered precious metals, which is platinum, palladium and rhodium from autocatalyst. And then we got into processing cathode ray tube televisions, which are the old big televisions, big heavy ones. So that has 20% lead in it. So there was a big global recycling company needed help with coming up with a solution. So I invented a solution to dissolve the glass, dissolve the lead, recover the lead, and then we were left with a sodium silicate. So we were like, what am I going to do with this sodium silicate? So it's actually the 5th world's largest traded commodity. But I couldn't use it for what it predominantly goes into, which is soap powder, because it come from a hazardous waste. So we were like, well, what are we going to do with it? So we've done some research on the internet, and it was, we can make a geopolymer product, which is very similar to concrete, but it's using other materials. So we come up with a formula using the sodium silicate, and then we made a 87% recycled concrete product, which we now make giant concrete Lego blocks for a living. So that's it goes into, we've done jobs at Chelsea Flower Show, Crossrail, big construction contractors, motorways, bridges. Yeah, so.
Wow.
going from one to
You made
one.
that sound very easy, and I'm sure that's not been the case.
No, definitely not.
How did you get into engineering? Was it something you always wanted to do? Or?
Right, so when I was in school, I wasn't very academic. I was always sort of very good at solving problems. I was heavily into the Scouts and also local youth club. So a lot of my foundation going through my teens was built up by the Scouts and Duke of Edinburgh scheme. So I'd done my bronze, I'd done my silver, and then I'd done my gold. And that was really rewarding. And I started to get into also helping out at youth work, and it was something that was really, really rewarding. Local community, and also the feedback from both sides. They helped me, and we were then helping them. And then so I left school with 3 GCSEs, C and above.
Wow.
One of them was an F in chemistry, and I've now wrote 7 patents for chemicals recovery and metals. So yeah. But so I'd left school. I'd got an apprenticeship. I was very, very lucky. A local company over in Liverpool on the Dock Road, a company called Studley Engineering, and we still do projects together now, 25 years later. So I'd started for them just before my 16th birthday. I went on day release as a pipe fitter welder, so went to get me City and Guilds. That was on a day release basis I'd done 4 years City and Guilds, and then I'd asked them if I could do my ONC in engineering, manufacturing and mechanical engineering, and they backed me. They let me go and do that day release for my ONC, and then they actually let me do my HNC as well, as really, really supportive company actually. So not only did they have my apprenticeship with them, they sponsored me on my Duke of Edinburgh Gold to go over to Germany to get that. So really, really, it also worked really well both ways. I worked for them for about 10 years. So that was doing pipe work, mechanical engineering and chemical process engineering, but also like, on a return basis, I used to run some big projects for them, even as a sort of 19-year-old on £3.40 an hour. So my first hourly rate, I think it was £1.45 an hour. So it was, but I absolutely loved every minute of that apprenticeship. The first year, cleaning the toilets, making the cups of tea, making the coffee, going to get the butties, working all night. It was really, look back on them years as very, very fond things that you sort of, now problems that I solve in business and things that I can sort of hit head on was all based on that foundation in and around sort of me teens and early 20s with, as I say, the Duke of Edinburgh, and then with study engineering. So a lot of that was, was yeah.
So, really. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but from my little knowledge, I know mechanical engineering and chemical engineering are very separate subjects.
Yeah, well, with chemical engineering and you're manufacturing, let's say, chemicals, or you're manufacturing products using chemicals. So a lot of everything around you is manufactured using some form of chemicals, whether it be a bottle of Coke or whether it be a computer. You need the chemical industry to feed them materials through. Your UPVC windows starts life as a chemical, as a liquid. But each chemical plant then requires mechanical equipment to pump it round. So you need a vessel, you need a motor on a vessel with a steerer in it, you need a pump, you need pipe work. So they do interlink, but they are quite different. And I think where I've been very lucky and very sort of, if you want to call it, opportunistic, because that's probably one of my things I'm good at, is seeing an opportunity and then coming up with a solution. So in the academic world and in the commercial world are a range apart. In the academic world, you have extremely bright people. In the commercial world, I have to do a problem and solve it quite quickly. Otherwise, I don't make any money out of it, and I go into administration myself. So coming up with them solutions, sometimes we work very closely with University of Chester over at Thornton Science Park. We have an office in there, we have a lab in there, and we also work with Liverpool John Moores University. So you have to surround yourself with people that are a lot brighter than yourself. And I think the collaboration between academia and business works really, really well. You can get ideas and really good answers off them very quickly, but sometimes you have to drive that timeline yourself, because you can't a lot of projects, I can't spend a year looking into the specifics of. I need it to work in a month or 2 months to move it forward. Now, you might not have it 100% right at that point, but you might be sort of 70, 80, 90% of the way there, and then use the other 10 months perfecting it. But at least you've started something in the right direction.
What's your thought process?
Yeah, so a nice simple one that we could probably all relate with is I don't drink tea or coffee. Probably from having to make 400 of them every day. But I don't drink tea or coffee. I'd just come out the dentist with me lovely wife and beautiful daughter, and we'd gone over to a Costa Coffee, and I just had my soft drink, my Diet Coke. My daughter wanted one of these baby chino hot chocolate things, and my wife was getting a latte. So I'd gone to the counter. It was really quiet. It was over in Costa in Neston, and I looked over as the woman was making the cup of coffee, and I went, "What are you doing there, love?" And she went, "What do you mean?" I said, "What are you doing with that cloth?" She said, "I'm cleaning the steam wand." I said, "It's absolutely disgusting." You could see how it was moist, it was dirty, some of it was coffee, but I thought, what's going on? So I'd sort of seen that blind spot, and I thought, as I'm walking away with my cup, I asked them to make a new one. And then as I'm walking away with my wife's cup of coffee, I went, I wonder whether anyone's ever made a portable ultrasonic cleaner. So we use ultrasound in our metals recovery. So we get printed circuit boards from waste electronics. We take that printed circuit board, we dissolve that in chemicals and ultrasound. So if you're just using the chemicals alone, it takes about 7 hours to dissolve. With the ultrasonics on, it takes about 15, 20 minutes. So how ultrasound works is it's a power source to a generator, then to a transducer. That vibrates 30, 40,000 times a second, causes a sound frequency in liquid. So you can go and buy a watch cleaner or a jewelry cleaner or off from Amazon, but nobody's ever made a portable one. So I'd sort of left the coffee shop. I spent 2 hours that night on my laptop looking, researching. Nobody's made a portable ultrasonic cleaner. So I phoned my dad, who's also a mechanical engineer, and between us in his garage and in the University of Chester, we stripped down an ultrasonic tank, and then we put together this portable ultrasonic cleaner, which we called at the time Puck Mug, portable ultrasonic cleaner mug. So it looked like it was a flask with an ultrasonic generator on it. So, and then we tried it. It worked. And then we phoned up our patent attorney, got him up from Birmingham, and started to put together the basis of what is now Hygienic Innovations Limited. So it's seeing that opportunity and actually delivering it really, really quickly that's our USP. That's our generator is coming up with an idea and then getting it to reality extremely quickly for not a lot of money. So you have research and development departments at places like Dyson or Philips, and they have teams of people, and that obviously costs a lot of money, that we can get to the same end result extremely quickly. So I think that's probably a nice, quick, easy opportunity from there's a dirty cloth. And we started to do tests on the cloth, and there's things like Acinetobacter and Campylobacter and fecal coliforms. I mean, no one wants to be drinking that today. So, but our process, the bacteria is not coming from the milk, it's coming from us.
Yeah.
So everybody wipes the surface down, they've been in the toilet, so on and so forth. So so then we come up with we had a branding company come on board with us, Armstrong over in Chester. There's a lad there, Alex Owen, he now runs a sister company called Master of Brands, and he's come up with this Sonox design, which is obviously you can see it, Andrew, but it's something quite sort of Apple-y, Samsung-y looking. So we're just raising some funds at the moment to make 1,000 of them for February.
Oh, wow. That looks so nice.
So it's on the premise of, if George Foreman, who didn't invent the lean green cooking machine, can sell 100 million units, then we can try our best to try and get one in, because you can use it for makeup brushes.
Yeah.
So we started to test different things then. So makeup brushes, people are cleaning the makeup brush. It takes about 20 minutes a night, when you can do it with this in like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
You can use your watches, your jewellery, things like glasses.
So it's going to go to the commercial market as well as...
well, yeah.
How are you going to go about that? Like, do you have a strategy?
So the main strategy is, for any project and any business, you need funding, unless you want to grow it organically. So if you want to grow it rapidly, you need funding. So we're speaking with various people who will put some cash in to get us to our end goal a lot quicker. So we've already invested our own cash in getting it to where it is. But we need the cash to then make these next 1,000 units to then get them out into the marketplace. Wow. That side, the funding side, is always quite difficult. That's a case of going to meet as many credible funding people as you can, and hopefully they see the potential in the product and will invest some cash in it.
How do you find funding people?
Right, so in and around sort of Chester, Merseyside, Liverpool City region, you've got Dropjaw over in Chester, you've got Deep Ridge Capital over in Chester, you've got Merseyside Special Investment Fund, you've got Spark Impact, you've got Iona Capital. So there's a lot of people out there looking to support businesses, but I would say the easiest way is get in touch with your local Chamber of Commerce. I'm a director over at Wirral Chamber of Commerce, purely for the fact of 12 years ago, they helped me set up my first business, and then they've helped me set up 5, 6, 7 businesses, and they've been with us every step of the way. So helping us get funding, helping us move things forward, business support, business plans, and then introductions into people as well. So if you're not in the Wirral, you still could join Wirral Chamber of Commerce, but Wirral Chamber of Commerce are the fastest growing Chamber of Commerce in the UK at the moment. So it's getting that help that you need, is go to the people who are there to help you deliver it.
I've got about 1,000 questions I want to ask you all of that stuff. I'm just trying to, there's a few questions. So I do want to ask you about what you're doing with Wirral Chamber of Commerce, but I also kind of want to go back a little bit in terms of the funding, just because I think it's a really interesting topic. So you're finding these funders, and then what did you have to do? A presentation, a pitch? How does it work?
So you have to produce a sort of low-level business plan. A high-level business plan, just to show sort of what the story of the business. I think that's one way of seeing a business plan, is where is the story? Where did it start from? Where have you got up to at the minute, and where would you like to get up to? And putting that down on an actual business plan. I mean, you can download business plans, or, as I say, speak to local chamber of commerce, but it's a case of getting that plan ready and then showing that to them, and then they will actually, if they're that interested, they'll help you put more detail into the plan, but also help you hopefully secure the funding. There's the Northern Powerhouse Fund as well, so go on the internet and really drill down into looking for funding. There does not only, so they might do loan funding, or they might do equity funding, or they might do a little bit of both, but there's also grants available locally.
Yeah.
So again, contact local chamber of commerce. But Innovate UK is a big one. So that's a UK government organisation. And then there's still EU funding, even though Brexit and whichever way that'll go, it still has to be spent, because it's been signed off. In 2013, they put something like 7 billion away for small to medium enterprise businesses across Europe to grow. So they still have to give that cash out. It's written in EU law. So have a look around, or ask some people. It's better off if you don't ask, you don't get type of thing.
Yeah.
And one thing to not be deterred by is, just because one funder says no doesn't mean another one will, is to find that maybe the right person for you. But there's also people out there who will help you source funding. Now, they might take a little bit of cut, but they will actually put you in touch with the right people. So rather than you kissing 50 frogs, they'll let you kiss 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. You're on the board of directors of the Wirral Chamber.
Yeah.
So what's your role there?
Yeah, so a lot of my is in and around entrepreneurship and invention, being an inventor, as well as I'm really good at networking and putting people together as sort of a collaborative basis. So I think people sometimes see competitors as a disadvantage, whereas I see it more of as a collaboration. So what we've been very good at the chamber is putting business A with business B, and what services maybe they can provide that can help that business, or maybe even they help sell that as one of their product line, and then they work together. So my bit for the Chamber of Commerce is helping local businesses, because my sort of strapline to that would be, we all succeed together. If we can help set up, let's say, 5 new businesses every year with just 2 people, that let's say one of them drops off, but the other 4 then go from 2 people to 5 people to 40 people to could be 100 people. Yeah. So we have on the Wirral, we have a lot of extremely fantastic businesses, and some of them haven't released all the potential. It's helping them businesses release that potential. Yeah. And what the Chamber's always been very good at, since I've been involved with them all this time, is Paula Basnett. She's the CEO. She's always had a really good team around her to help deliver them projects. So a lot of other chambers I've been involved with, there's a lot of saying but not a lot of doing. At Wirral Chamber, if they say something, they will help you deliver it every single step of the way. And I also sit on, I'm the Vice Chair for the Energy and Environment Forum. I'm also the Chair of the Manufacturing and Engineering Forum. You've got the Construction Forum, you've got the Professional Services Forum, you've got the Digital Forum. So there's a lot of things out there to help your businesses grow. We have these forums meet every quarter. And there's about, so the largest one, the Construction Forum, there's a girl called Sarah Davies runs that, does a fantastic job. She's a real drum banger. So if you want help with your construction business, she'll get you in with the right people. If you want to sell something into, I don't know, a Morgan Sindel or a Langer Rock or something, then she'll help you. She'll get on the phone. They have about 90 people turn up at that Construction Forum every quarter. It's really, and all the members seem to find that really rewarding. I'm a strategic partner at Wirral Chamber, so because of the help they've given me, then we're a strategic partner. We've got about 45 strategic partners at the moment. And what happens there is the strategic partners meet up quarterly as well. and that's additional more and more support, and they have more meetings and business events and things like that you can attend and really propel your business forward. But again, if you're going to be a member of something, make sure that people always say, well, I didn't get anything out of it. Well, the reason for that is, what did you actually put into it? You've got to you don't just become a member of, let's say, Wirral Chamber of Commerce and open your window and all the orders fly in. But if you turn up for the networking event and you put that effort in, I've found it really rewarding anyway over the years.
Well, it's like going to the gym. Just because you get a membership, you've still got to go for it.
Still got to go, yeah.
What I'm really interested in as well is you've got so much going on. You've got about 20 plates. You're spinning 20 plates. Really interested to know how you manage your time. In fact, what does your week look like? First
thing first, I base it in and around my family. So I've got a wife, I've got 2 daughters. I never ever miss anything at the school. And I'm a governor of my youngest one's school as well. But the reason for that is everyone says, well, I haven't got the time. You've got to make the time. And if you actually believe in something that much, you will make the time for it. So I thought, well, I've been asked to be, let's say, the governor at the little one school. They're looking after my little princess all day. So why should I not give that back and help them with some funding issues and stuff? So my first priority is family. So we like to go out for meals. When we have cash in at the businesses I haven't taken, we go on holiday and spend some quality time together. Yeah, so that's my first thing. And then base me week in and around share and focus. So that's a big thing is which one do you focus on? Because we've got 4 sort of business opportunities and businesses, but one of them predominantly is doing most of the trading, while the others are sort of going from research development into commercialization. Until you've got the cash for them, you can only sort of nudge them along a little bit. So main concentration is Blockwalls, which is the giant concrete Lego blocks. As I say, we work in various sectors: construction sector, landscape. So it takes up an awful lot of time. Another good thing coming on to with Blockwalls is we used to do mandatory back to work programs. So we trained 3,000 people over 4 years who were on income support, couldn't get a job, come into the various businesses, and then we train them to get work experience. So 90% of my businesses now, the people that come from that program. So it's giving opportunity as well the other way, because you never know when you need help yourself. Splitting out my week, it is a bit of a nightmare sometimes, and I'm not the best at being on time as well.
You're an engineer and you're an entrepreneur. Now, my friends who are engineers, and I've been around a lot of engineers, they very process thinking, very problem solving. So there's a bit of a crossover with an entrepreneur, but the typical characteristics of an entrepreneur is all over the place and very creative and all these different ideas. How engineer, entrepreneur, how's your brain working with that? One apology I would say, and everyone knows me, is I'm not the most structured person in the world. So I can going down the straight line to get to the end is sometimes extremely difficult for me. But I've had to stop myself coming up with more ideas and more businesses, because otherwise that is a detriment to the businesses that are already trading. So I'm not allowed any more new ideas until I've delivered some of my old ones. Do you have a book or something that you write them in? And
No, I'm not really big on sort of writing or even I should spend more time on me and do a bit more reading than I normally do on things like books and what have you. But I'm quite a digital person, so And on the structure side of things, I've actually started to get into calendars and actually putting dates and times in and actually look at it in the morning. But from one day to the next, I'm a sort of day-to-day mainly type person. So it's dealing with the problems. Yeah.
So I've seen you on TED Talks as well. So how did that come about?
Yeah. So really interesting story, actually. So everyone sometimes thinks business is rosy and if you present yourself right in businesses, everyone thinks business is going great. Business isn't always great. Cash flow nightmares, lack of funding, lack of personal funds sometimes if you put it into one of the businesses or multiple businesses. So this is probably a bit more honest than we normally do. But September last year, so September 2017, I'd had a cancelled order on my Blockwalls business, 150 grand. Oh, that's one you wake up to with a bang. And I was feeling a bit down, as you would be, but I'm a very positive person, so you try and get yourself back up. And on the Friday of that week, we had the F2M Business Awards, and we were up for New Business of the Year, and was up for Businessman of the Year. And I thought, I'm never going to win that. So we'd gone over to Llandudno, beautiful place, and the people at F2M were absolutely fantastic. And I didn't win New Business of the Year. And then they come on to Businessman of the Year. And we were laughing, we were joking at the table. And my wife, I wasn't sure about going over, when you're in that sort of down space. And my wife had talked me into, come on, we're going over, get dressed, get your black tie on, come on. So thank God she talked me into it. And then they read out Jonathan Quinn, Businessman of the Year. And do you know what? It was such a rewarding experience and a lift, really. Driving to there was a completely different person that drove home from there. And it gave me quite a lot of drive and quite a lot of, a sort of a feel good factor. And, so from that, then I'd asked to be, would have come, it was University of Chester, TEDx, and obviously we've got a place on University of Chester and work well with the faculty. They'd asked me to go and do that. But yeah, I'm not, when I said about structure before, I could never stand there and present a structured presentation, but I am very good at ad-lib and sort of, on getting on with things at the time. I'm always better at that sort of action stage, but I really enjoyed it. I was really nervous on it. But yeah, I give myself about a 7.5.
I think you might have answered it then, but I'll ask it just in case you haven't. So I'm going to ask you what's been your biggest challenge to date, and how did you overcome it?
I mean, I've had a lot of challenges. I've had illegal debt collectors come at me. I've had bailiffs. I've had fire in the business, I think it was the second largest fire on the Wirral, and I'd also had my business partner die on the same day. So challenges like that. So when was that? June 2014. So my business partner, Les Cousins, he's 72, and he was within 3 months he got cancer, and I'd gone to see him at 11 o'clock. I think it was the Tuesday night, yeah. And then his wife had texted me that he passed away 1 o'clock in the morning in the hospice, and then obviously come into work that day, telling everyone and stuff. And then I'd gone home, and my wife said to me, "Tell you what, I'll cheer you up. Let's go out for a meal." So the father-in-law come round to babysit with his wife. And as we're walking out the door, my next door neighbour, he's the maintenance manager on a plant about half a mile down the road from where my business was. He leans out the window and he says, "John, I think your place is on fire." And I went, "What?" And I turned my head round, and I'm only 2.5 miles away from where the business is in Bromley, and I could just see this plume of black smoke, and I was like, oh my God. And the father-in-law said, "Jump in my car and we'll drive down." And when we got to the facility in Bromley, there was more people there than there was at the Tranmere Rovers game. Honest to God, we had to go past all the cars, and it was literally unbelievable. So I got there about 6. And I was still there at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'd gone around the Asda, get the firefighters drinks, and there was 16 fire engines. It was literally unbelievable. And it's actually been set off deliberately. So literally 4 businesses on the one site. It was like, what are we going to do? It couldn't even claim on the insurance, because the premium would have gone up across the 3 businesses, and we ended up having to move site. Yeah, it was an absolute nightmare for about 2 or 3 months. So getting over hurdles, it's sometimes really difficult. But I'm a person that if I want to go to the end, I'll make sure I do get to the end, and nothing's going to sort of get in our way. It's no good getting down about things, is it, Andrew?
So what was going through your mind then during that period, and how did you overcome?
Yeah, well, I try and remain a positive person, because there is literally no space in getting down. I've had loads of things happening in my life. I've had things like skin cancer. So until I'm sitting opposite the doctor, and he says, "Listen, John, you've got about a week left to live," or let's say your family isn't well, your wife, your kids, your mum, your dad, everything else can be solved. So I think that's probably a good message to get across, is you can pretty much solve and head off every problem. So it's stick with it, and you will come out the other end. It is painful, and it does chip bits off you, but get a bit of Teflon coating and crack on.
Would you think those circumstances and experiences have shaped your personality? Because you're very down to earth, you're very approachable, you're very charismatic.
I think a lot of it come from my upbringing. So a fantastic mum and dad, and then, as I say, with the Scouts, and then the Duke of Edinburgh, and moving along my life, I've been extremely lucky with the people I've always been involved with. So I think they've helped shape me, and I think it's being grounded as well. Is you can have a situation where I'll treat someone that's homeless on the street with the same compassion as let's say the Prime Minister, is to just stick with things and help each other, because you can all literally succeed together. Is the sort of the help in and around it, and have time for people as well. I think it's always sort of, we can always rush around, but I've never ever, someone says, can I come in and see you at Friday afternoon at 2:00? And if that's free, I'll always meet with anyone, because you never know where a situation or an opportunity might arise. So I think, I'll get you to write me CV next time, Andrew. But yeah, thanks very much. Appreciate that.
What's your vision then for your group of businesses? Where do you want to take everything?
Yeah. So it's only over the last 6 months I've badged everything up under Quinnovations. So that's sort of the top of the umbrella, and then everything else falls underneath it. And the main reason for that was to get some focus in and around why am I doing this? So I want to leave a legacy on something on the environment, and also obviously on me kids, but also obviously if we can try and help even 2 people or 10 people, and then them 10 people help 2 people. So that's what sort of Quinnovations is in and around. So sort of inspiring, improving, not just my own businesses, but local community, local environment, because we are all in this together, and we all have a duty of care really to try and, if you're born and then you die and you haven't done anything to change anything, what was the point? So Quinnovations is in and around that, and then most of my businesses are based in and around the environment. So Blockwalls 87% recycle. We're trying to get to 100% by 2020. We're also started a program in that where for every block we build, we plant a tree, and we're working with Wirral Autistic Society and Wirral Mencap to produce them trees and then go out and plant the trees. So it's what can you try and do for all them little marginal gains. Me goals for the businesses are, so Blockwalls, as in on the environmental side, move up, obviously try and get more orders and in completely different sectors. And then we've got EV range extender, which is an engine for electric vehicles. So I'd noticed like people are buying electric cars, but then they have something called range anxiety. I didn't know anything about it because I didn't have an electric car. So you get in your car and you're going to drive over to Manchester, and you're like, am I going to get home from Manchester? There's no infrastructure. There's no charge points. The world's going to have to change rapidly over the next sort of 5-6 years. So my dad had served his apprenticeship as a generator engineer, and an opportunity come across from the States. A guy we know over there, Lionel Simmons and Peter Lamb, had made this small tiny generator for the American Army. So I thought, wonder whether we can use that for putting inside a car over in the UK. So we get a generator over, we're putting it in a Nissan Leaf over at John Moores University. We'll validate it for 6 months and then try and roll that product out, again raising some cash and building engines. And then we've got Bullion Tech Limited, which is the metals recovery for the precious metals in the circuit boards. I'm speaking over at something called Future Tech Festival on the 11th and 12th of December. So people are coming from all over the world for that, and there's only been, I think, 12 or 15 people asked to speak, and myself being one of them, I was absolutely over the moon and quite surprised as well. So we go over there with, again, Wirral Chamber, Liverpool, LEP, Local Enterprise Partnership, and Department for International Trade. So looking forward to that with Bullion Tech. That business is looking at selling licenses for its equipment solution. Hygienic Innovations, which is the new Sonox. So again, raise some funds, get 1,000 out of them, out into the marketplace over the next 6-12 months. That's pretty much all the businesses. Just always nudging them along a little bit, or in the hope that one of them lands really well.
Busy guy. I'm just also interested in you as a person as well, and being an engineer. If I was to ask you how an engineer thinks and sees the world, Could you articulate that at all?
I wish it could be a bit more financially based sometimes. If someone had told me I was going to spend $100,000 to get the portable ultrasonic cleaner to where it is today, I might have changed my mind like 14 months ago. But it's more in and around trying to make something that works really well, and always trying to change something to make it better. I think that's sort of an engineer's brain, because literally everything around us has been designed or made by an engineer. Even the clothes we wear, there's machines that have to put the dye in at specific points to make a pattern. So I think, on the engineering side is just to try and make something work really well or better. And we see it all the time with smartphones. Smartphones didn't exist, 12 or 13 years ago now. And then you see their progression. That's had to be really quickly because it's financially driven.
So if you get into a car, do you just look around and think, well, I'd move this there, I'd move that there, I'd make this better? Or if you get a new TV, you think, oh, this would have a better design. Is that how you're thinking all the time?
No, I think I'm more blind to unless there's sort of an oil spill.
Okay.
I quite like aesthetics and stuff, and I quite like marketing of specific brands, but I don't sort of OCD sit there in a car and say I'd change that. But unless say there was a problem with the car, i.e. like the likes of the range extender or whatever, then I'd think of a solution in and around it.
Wow. Okay. Wow. So what do you do? You got so much going on. What do you do? Do you have any downtime? Do you do anything to relax at all when you're not trying to solve the world's problems?
mainly sort of family time. So I'm
with the family.
Yeah. Or if I get a quiet time, I'll think of a new idea, won't I? So,
don't put you in a quiet room.
Be my problem.
So meditation's out the window then.
Meditation, that's probably, I don't think that'd be a good thing, having me meditate for 10 minutes.
So have you done anything in the past year or two, like, it could be an app that's helped you get more organized. It could be, I don't know, a hobby that you've taken. Have you done anything that's really benefited your life?
I tell you what's been a good one that just springs to mind is this Pay Park app thing.
Okay.
So whereas you turn up in, let's say, Liverpool or Chester or Manchester or whatever, is a downloaded app, and you pull up at the machine. It's got 4 numbers on it or 5 numbers on it. You've got the app, put the 5 numbers in, stick an hour on it, go into your meeting rather than, oh no, I forgot my change, I forgot what time did they put on it? It actually counts down.
I've not seen that app.
It's pay. I think there's one called Pay and Go. There's one called.
I've been caught out with Park and Go so many times.
But it actually counts down. It's a really good app. What is it? Phone and Pay and Ring Go. Ring Go is the Manchester one, and Pay Go is the Liverpool one. But that sort of reduced any anxiety on it. So that's been a good app. And what else is literally calendar? So I used to be terrible for turning up for a meeting late, or I'd be doing this podcast now and there'd be a knock on the door. By the way, Bill's come to see you. Do you remember organising the meeting with Bill? I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't put it in my diary. So over about the last 6-7 months, I've literally religiously put stuff in diary and actually check beforehand what I'm doing, because things do come around quickly, don't they?
Absolutely. So we've got a couple more questions, and one question is, who inspires you?
And it sounds a bit cheesy, but I've been with my wife for like 21 years, and we've literally been through all these things together. And she actually makes me want to be a better person. I know that might sound a bit cheesy, but yeah, it's she's always out for helping people, and always on. You see that then being delivered down to your kids.
Are you contactable? And if anyone wants to contact you, what's the best way?
Yeah, just go on the Quinnovations website, and and just you'll see phone numbers there, or if you're interested in any of the businesses, there's links to follow through to the other ones. I would say that have a look at the Range X video, because Master of Brands has done a brilliant job with that. That's something I've been really impressed with.
I'll have a look at that.
But my probably last message would be is go out there and help people and see where it actually gets you in your life then. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much for helping us today, Andrew.